Hey guys, welcome back to Clover Mobile. In today's video, we're going to be going through my top 5 free-to-play units. Now, before we get into that, we did just hit 25,000 subscribers on the channel. So massive thank you to you guys. We are going to do another $100 giveaway in this video. Be subscribed, leave a comment, drop a like if you can. I can't monitor it, but it'd be appreciated. But if you be subscribed and leave a comment, you'll go into the draw and I'll announce the winner about a week away in a community post. And also tomorrow morning when I wake up, I'll be announcing the winner from the previous draw in a community post, so keep an eye on that. So, my top 5 free-to-play units. Now, what am I considering free-to-play? I'm considering any unit that we get for free and also any SR units, which I know not everyone has all of the SRs yet. I don't myself. I haven't done enough summons, but I feel like they are in the more free-to-play range than the SSRs. So, that's what I am including in this one. And before I go into the units that I'm going to talk about, I want to give some honorable mentions. And they go to, because I don't actually have some of these SRs, we've got Solid Silver, who is a decent blue damage dealer. You guys know I'm a fan of going blue team first, farming the red dungeon. And if you don't have the blue Yami or anything like that, then Solid Silver is a great option. And the other one is Gauche. Both really solid options for that. And the other one that I do want to mention is Sol, who is going to be a tank for the blue team if you don't have Mars. So those are the three They're good units if you don't have anything else, and they're just a core part of early progression, but they don't have the longevity of being really strong later on. So let's get into my 5. And the first one is one of those ones that doesn't have the longevity, but she is so pivotal in creating that team early on to get you to farming your LR gear, and that is Charmy. Charmy's an absolute monster. Now, she will fall off. I often get asked the question, is Charmy better than Mimosa? The answer to that is no. If I had to give you a straight answer, no, but she's more impactful in the early game because she gets you farming that LR gear, which is super, super important. But in general, like Mimosa, I'm using in my PvP team because she's just got a better kit overall for that type of thing. But for farming against red enemies, Charmy's amazing because if you bring Mimosa, she just gets targeted and killed and you're screwed. Whereas Charmy sits there as a blue unit in a full blue team, and then the enemies are always going to attack, or mostly going to attack your tank. So Charmy, even though she does fall off, she is super amazing. Now, with her skill page, her skill is going to also, besides healing and giving an ally SP, it's also going to give them a magic attack buff, but it only has max HP as the stat. HP percent as the stat. And I prefer just getting some HP recovery in my skill page instead of that, but she does have that magic attack buff if you do throw that on. Now, her basic attack is also fantastic because it heals the ally with the lowest, and then it has a 50% chance to do an extra attack, which does extra damage, but then also heals based on the damage dealt. And if you have damage amplifiers in your team, kind of like Lotus, and the enemy's taking more damage, it means you're going to heal more to all your allies, which is really, really nice. So her basic and her skill both heal, and if you're using her in a team and you're trying to optimize healing, you just have her skill as number 1 priority, and then that's it. She's always going to use her skill when it's on cooldown, or her basic, and every turn she is going to be healing. But we do have her ultimate, which is going to remove buffs. Well, guaranteed to remove 1 buff and 50% chance to remove another buff. This is situationally useful in different type of scenarios, but in general, you're going to be healing in PvE most of the time. And this one, she's going to grant an ally a chance at SP up, and she's going to give them magic attack up, and then, that's the combo attack. I do sometimes use this if I'm pairing her with my Lotus, depending on the situation. Next up, we have Finral. Now, this guy is an absolute monster in both PvE and PvP. He can be super annoying to play against in PvP because he just buffs his teammates, he advances their actions forward, and it just makes his team cycle so fast. Now, he is amazing because he also has really high base speed. However, I haven't built mine yet. I'm waiting to do some more summons and get more dupes, because at 5 dupes, at 4-star, 5 copies total, he gets the +2 speed, which for, if you're down and you got lower speed and your enemy has that extra 2 speed, you're gonna lose the race, and it's all about the race. So I'm just not stressed on building him just yet. Plus, I'm not yet ready to build my red team, which I will build him for in the future. But let's take a look at his kit. kit. So his ultimate has a speed buff, debuff removal, and increased crit rate. Obviously lower chances on the last two, but still really, really nice. That guaranteed speed buff by 55% for 2 turns is fantastic. Then his skill grants all allies increased attack, so he's got that damage. And then if an ally is buffed with the crit rate buff, grants them 100% increased damage. Sorry, not 100%, 10% increased damage dealt buff. Now, the thing that's nice about this is we do have over here that everyone got for free. I'm going to show you mine. This one here, which is the Yami one, which gives us crit rate when an ally takes a turn. So you can get crit rate really easily on some of your damage dealers to go ahead and make the use to get that buff, which I absolutely love. I think it's a really good synergy that we have as free to play because everyone got that at launch. So that's pretty nice. And also, if you use his exclusive skill page, the other thing you're going to get is a 60%, sorry, a 60, if I could speak, it would be great, a 60% chance to boost your allies' gauge as well by 15%. So then you've got another chance to keep boosting gauge and stuff like that, which is just absolutely fantastic. This guy's a monster. And then we've got that basic attack, which is going to increase the speed of the 2 allies with the lowest mobility, which is just, once again, he just immobilizes your entire team. Now, his team up skill, I don't use this too much because you're normally using that ultimate, but we do get the big juicy increased attack buff and increased mobility for the ally, but that mobility is only a 50% chance. However, it does with skill ups go up to an 80% chance, which is kind of more reliable, but still not 100% reliable. So because of all this, he is fantastic in PvP because he gives you that first turn advantage and lets you try and cleave your enemies. And then in PvE, he just helps you completely cycle your enemies, so you can keep taking more turns, getting more chances to heal, getting more chances to debuff them, and basically just making things a lot safer. But that is a Finral, absolute monster. Next up is Veltos. Now, he is very similar to Finral, except he's much worse in PvE, in my opinion. His kit isn't as solid as Finral's, but he's got one thing that is more advantageous than Finral that makes him better in arena offense, in my opinion, because arena offense is all about having a reliable team that you know is always going to win or have the best chance at winning. And Finral, with his boosting and stuff, you can rely on his speed buff if that's enough to get you over the line, but otherwise his gauge buff is only a 60% chance, so it's not reliable. Whereas this guy has an increased 20% mobility buff, so this is guaranteed. So you can use this first turn. The other thing is, you can see here he's got the exact same base speed as a Finral, so the highest speed characters in the game for boosting, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, like I said, this is his bread and butter. This is what he is all about, and it's for arena. The rest of his kit is kind of lacking. If we look here, grants the designated ally increased magic attack, and then we got a 50% chance to grant reduced mobility. Reduced mobility immunity, so they can't be reduced, but it's not crazy. With his designated skill page, you also get accuracy on this as well. And then this one grants increased mobility buff to the ally with the lowest mobility. This is kind of nice, and it does go up to 20%, so this can be useful, but in general, he is there for the boost for PvP, and he just has really good, both him and Finral just stay really strong in PvP because of that. But Finral, once again, also has the PvE viability, whereas Veltos, you're more looking at him purely for PvP. So when you would build this guy, I would probably build him once I've got him 4 duped and I'm looking at cleaving in PvP. There's no point in building him anytime before that, but like I said, still a fantastic unit for it. So next up, this one may seem a little bit out of left field, but Nebra Silver. I just absolutely love this character's kit, and when you would build her is when you're looking at building a green team and you want that supporter. She's like really strong for single target bossing and stuff like that, is where she's really going to shine. But she's one of those units where even if you don't want to build her straight away, she's not part of your first green team, just keep her in the back of your mind that eventually you might hit stages where she might be a really good build. Maybe it's not like early on, she's definitely not in your first like 5, 6, 7 units to build, in my opinion, but later on, keep her in mind because she's got an absolute monstrous kit. The first one we're going to look at is her ultimate, but this is not what I would be using. So she gets 2 clones, and basically when she uses her basic attack, they do an extra attack. But the big thing here is her team up ability is really nice because she inflicts incapacitate, which increases damage taken by 60% for 2 turns. So she's going to do that on her team up, and then if you have her teaming up with, one of your main damage dealers, they're going to get some juicy damage into that, but it is a 2-turn debuff, so it is really nice. Once again, it's single target, but that is really nice for bossing and stuff like that. Good damage amplification, especially when we combine that with her skill, which her skill has a 40% chance to transform. Now, transform's amazing. It's just a hard CC, basically stunned. They can't do anything, which is awesome, but we also get the reduced defense. So we're increasing the damage taking and reducing their defense by 70%. Now, that is for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, but if you're fast enough, if you've got slows on the enemy, you can speed that up. And then the final one, which is inflicts buff immunity. And the great thing about these two is the defense reduction and the buff immunity, so the buff blocker, they're both 100% chance to land. But the buff blocker is tied into her signature skill page, so you do need that to take advantage of that. And then finally, finishing off the kit, we do have her basic attack, which puts reduced magic attack level 1 on the enemy for 2 turns, which is, and that's the cool thing about this is it's a 100% chance and it's for 2 turns and it's on a basic attack. You don't really get that on many SR or R characters where they have 100% application for multiple turns, like especially on a basic attack. And it may not seem like much, but especially if we're looking at bossing or something like that, where she's increasing the damage they take, she's blocking them from getting buffs, she's reducing their defense, and then she's also reducing their magic attack. It's just a really stacked kit that I absolutely love, and I will definitely be building her eventually. But like I said, she's not in my first initial roster of characters to build. And our final one, let me know in the comments if you saw this one coming, but it's going to be Charlotte. We all get her for free from our first 10 pool, and it's definitely a unit I would recommend to everyone to eventually build. Obviously, I like going for the blue team first. Me personally, I went for my Mimosa next, but as soon as you start looking at building a red team, whether you build your damage dealer first, then her, you got Finral as an option as well. Then you've also got the healer, the red Mimosa as a healer if you need a healer or if you wait further. But in general, this unit just really solid all round. Just one of those units where she's just sort of brings everything to the table, which works really well. So if we go to her ultimate, so we got an ultimate that puts bleeds on and reduces their attack. Now, I love her synergy with Red Yami, because with Red Yami, you know, his skill 2 will stun enemies if they're bleeding, and then she can just apply that bleed with this, and then he can go ahead and stun. I think those two have a really good synergy, but this, you've got reduced attack and you got bleed. Now, the bleed is only a 40% chance, so keep that in mind, but the reduced attack is a 100% chance. So you got damage mitigation, which is really nice, compiled with AoE damage, and then her skill over here, we're going to get defense reduction and mark. Now, the great thing about this is that the defense reduction is guaranteed. The mark is only a 50% chance, but it does go up to 100 with skill ups, which is fantastic. Now, the cool thing about mark is if we look at something like, you know, a Mars with his passive immunity, that doesn't block mark. So you can still apply mark to enemies with this, even if they've got Mars with his LR upgrade in arena, which is pretty cool because then you can mark them. And then if you kill an enemy, whoever kills them gets another turn. So, you know, if you got a big nuker like Yami or something like that, who can just absolutely clap an enemy, you get them another turn and then you can really start to snowball. So this is fantastic. But once again, if you land the defense reduction and then you put the mark on, so they're death shredded, and then you just easy clapping enemies, it becomes really fantastic. So I just think this skill in itself is amazing. Really good for PvE as well, for just snowballing in PvE. Like I said, for PvE, when we look at it, you've got the reduced attack, so enemies deal less damage to your team, and then you've got like real damage amplification and snowballing with the defense break and the mark. And then if we go over here, after granting attack, increased damage dealt. Now this isn't crazy. So she does more damage if an enemy has a mark. It's not the greatest thing, but she can actually hit decently hard with it, because normally if they have mark, they're going to have the defense break as well. So she's going to smack enemies pretty hard, and she can often land some kills with this when I played with her, especially in PvE, which allows her to snowball and then get her cooldowns back faster for the next wave and stuff like that, which is also really nice. But like I said, those are my top 5 free-to-play units that I think, with the exception of Charmy, like if you've gotten through the game without Charmy and you're farming LR gear, then you don't need her, but she's so pivotal for so many players to get to that stage of farming LR gear. But with the exception of her, all the others, I just see them having longevity, good use, and being just really solid characters to go ahead and build. Once again, we've got the giveaway. Be subscribed, leave a comment, you'll go into the draw. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.